Hello everybody, my name is Chris Miller. I'm with Waive, and I would like to tell you about my little idea that I've been working on for about the last year or so. So I run a jet ski rental, motorcycle rental, and quasi-exotic car rental business. We rent jet skis, Corvettes, Ducatis, and anything else that wipes that serious look off your face. So we sign a lot of waivers, and we process a lot of credit card payments. Now, the traditional way to collect credit card payments is through something like this little terminal here. It's a very commoditized business. Let's see, this one is advertising a rate of 0.23%. When I filed my LLC for my business, I probably got about maybe 5 to 10 offers, and they were all beating up each other over 0.23%, 0.22%, 0.005% plus a $20 minimum fee every month. And it's a very, very cutthroat, commoditized business, and you get a little credit card processor like what you see at most stores. Some places use the old school swiper, just like what you saw at JCPenney in 1985. They do still use those actually quite a bit in the world of jet ski rentals, especially for deposits and holds. Instead of actually running the card, they'll just get an imprint of it. So yeah, they're still using a let's see, 1985 versus today is a couple decades, so they're still way behind the times. First Data, I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, so I'm partial to companies from Omaha. So right now I'm using an Omaha payment processing company in First Data, and it's sending all my money to my favorite bank, Mutual of Omaha Bank, which does have a location here in Tampa, but all my money goes back to Omaha, including my payment processing fees. So that's where the world is right now, and there's been some movers and shakers in this industry. You guys have probably all seen something like this little guy. It's a Square device. Square goes from 0.23% in fees and revenue off of all your, well, as a percentage of all your revenue as their revenue. They multiply this fee by about a factor of 10, actually a little bit more than that. Square charges 2.5%. To process their fees. Now, the reason being is you go from this big bulky device that you have to pay $300 for, and you also have to go through a whole application process and prove that you're a business and have a tax ID number. Kind of scary for a small one-man shop, kind of like what I am. So Square is a really wonderful technology because it allows a small guy, even a guy hawking tickets at a hockey game, to run this out of his iPhone or his iPad. That little headphone jack plugs in. You guys all have seen that. So it's 10 times. This little thing is powerful. It's 10 times more profitable than the norm. It also processes the payment a little bit faster. Then you move up to something even a little bit more profitable. This little device hooks into the bottom of your iPad or your iPhone, and this guy goes from 0.23% to 2.5% to close to 7% in processing fees. The way Eventbrite charges their fees is they charge, I believe, a 3% payment processing fee, a 2.5% value-add software fee on every transaction, and then a minimum charge, well, a flat fee on top of all that of 99 cents per transaction. So on the average transaction, it ends up being close to 7%. So Eventbrite's way more profitable than even Square is. And the reason being is they add a lot of value-added tools. In the past, I've hosted conferences, one of them being the Southeast Entrepreneurship Conference at the University of Tampa, and we used Eventbrite, and we willingly, gladly, joyfully process all our payments through Eventbrite for a few reasons, and knowing we're paying way more than we need to on payment processing fees. But along with the payment, what we get is the conference attendees' information, their email. It automatically posts things to their Facebook wall that makes their friends want to sign up for the conference. It allows us to utilize a CRM tool that automatically reminds them to print off their ticket a few days before the event. It reminds them to show up to the event. It follows up with them after the event, all automatically for us. So this does way more than just move money around, and it deserves to make more money than the little Square comrade. So this is kind of the big picture of the payment processing world as we see it today. And as with my business, the jet ski rental business and the motorcycle rental business, I've actually been using Eventbrite, but it really doesn't do everything I want. It doesn't have a full waiver. And there is an existing iPad app out there, and this is my obnoxious life-proof case. It's waterproof, and it floats. It's buoyant. This iPad is buoyant and waterproof, so if I drop this thing in the water, it's totally cool. But there's this app called Please Sign In where you plug in your name, your email, your phone, your birthday. You can take a picture of yourself. There it goes, 1, 2, 3, cheese. And it does a lot of really cool things. It can collect a waiver, and then you can sign your name. And once you hit sign in, it'll email a copy to whoever is the owner of the app and whoever the customer is that just took their picture there. So this is the closest competitor we have, but their revenue model isn't quite what I would do, and it doesn't move money around. It doesn't do any marketing features. All it does is collect the waiver. So it does one simple job really well, but I'm really looking for an enterprise software that's going to run my business for me, much like Eventbrite runs my entire conference for me. So that's what we're trying to create. There's my little friend in the iPhone case. I'm using my iPhone right now to record the video. Otherwise, you could see the waterproof, floating, buoyant iPhone as well. I call them Chris-proof cases because I always break my stuff. But anyways, this is the world in the industry we're trying to shake up, and I'll show you a few other slides to go into a little more detail with Waive. So as I mentioned, my name's Chris Miller. My company name is Waive, and we talked about the landscape of the payment processing world. And my major problem I have regarding my business is I don't have an all-encompassing software that manages the liability waivers, processes the payments, and manages my inventory as well. I'd like all the information stored and processed and executed on one device and stored in one place in the cloud. And I'd be willing as a business owner to fork over a good chunk of my revenue to do that. This idea was inspired not only by Eventbrite, through my usage of Eventbrite through hosting conferences, both at the University of Tampa as well as my alma mater at the University of Nebraska in Omaha. But my past life, the last 7 years, I was a property manager, and I owned a property management company, and I used a product called Buildium. Buildium's a lot like Eventbrite in the fact it almost darn near runs your business for you. It also processes all the rent payments. And I paid probably about twice as much as the going market rates for payment processing with Buildium, knowingly, willingly, gladly, because whenever they processed my payment, they also did my bookkeeping entries for me. It updated my dashboard so I knew who paid rent and who hadn't. It did a lot of value-added things more than just moving money around. So my problem I have is basically I don't have the kind of software I had for my other ventures as what I'm looking for with my new venture. So my solution is to create a simple website, mobile app that would do everything we talked about. As you can read through the list, basically everything from start to finish of collecting the waiver to marketing to my customers after they've paid and had a great experience with my business. The wonderful thing of creating a software for yourself is your first customer doesn't have to be a jackass. It doesn't have to be mad if the software doesn't work right. So my business will eat our own cooking, and if the cooking sucks at first, no big deal. Our customer's not going to get mad. So we'll use our own business as a test run. But I've got actually a real customer lined up as well that will be the real deal. The name of the business is Enticer Water Sports. They rent jet skis and other beach water products down in off of downtown Sarasota. The owner's name is George. He loves the idea, wants to be a part of it. He said if he had money, he'd be investing in it. So we've got 2 customers lined up already. And so our target market is any business or organization that drives revenue off of activities that require liability waivers, or as I joke, any business that allow people to truly live. So if you think about the activities we're going to be surrounding ourselves with, they're activities where people would just go out and have the time of their life. So our business is targeting adrenaline-filled shops. That's basically the moral of the story as far as our target market goes. So think about any time you've been on vacation. So the revenue model is going to be almost identical to Eventbrite. So on a 100-hour jet ski rental, $3 comes to us for payment processing fee, quote unquote. Our fees can actually be lower, and we'll generate a profit off of that. The 2.5% value add software fee can be just pure revenue outside of the cost of creating the technology and marketing the technology. That's just pure sales with no other cogs to it as a raw product cost. And then the flat transaction fee is just like that. What that flat transaction fee allows us to do is kind of penalize people for running small, petty transactions through and reward people that are running bigger dollar amounts through on a per transaction basis. So we can hit the 6 to 7% fees that Eventbrite's doing. It's a nice little, I call it a back-end franchising fee, where if we can become a technology partner with these companies and be their vendor, we will be just as profitable as if we were their franchisor. But all we have to do is provide the software. So it's a great model. The competitors, I mentioned Eventbrite, Please Sign In, Square. As far as what actually is out there as far as an iPad app, there's an app called Lava Cart that's designed specifically for go-kart rentals. You might want to check into that. I've dinked around with it as much as I can. It's attacking a very small niche business. But a neat little software as well. Why we would be unique is we would be designed to specifically accommodate the entire sales cycle for each shop. And the important thing to know is that each shop kind of have its own little functions, so we're going to have to customize the process from one shop to the next, or provide a canvas for them to kind of craft their own waiver process. So it's going to be a little more complicated than Eventbrite. And will be the only liability waiver technology with the built-in payment processing, with the built-in marketing functions. So Please Sign In didn't offer that, or did they move the payments around? But that was the closest thing I could find as far as what was out there that I wanted. So our founding team, I'm acting as the CEO currently. My background, I guess you can research me. I've been around entrepreneurship my whole life. My dad owns a business, my grandpa owns a business, and studied finance, real estate, and at the graduate level studying entrepreneurship. So I try to dive as deep in as I can. I've got a wonderful CTO in Ron Osborne back in Omaha. He's doing some wonderful things there, running a technology shop. They've raised a couple $1 million to build a couple different iPad technologies in the world of precision agriculture in Nebraska. Agriculture is big money in Nebraska, so he's doing a lot of that, and he's got a dedicated mobile developer in his shop that'll be doing most of the work. Ron will oversee it, and he's got a lot of good experience with payment processing. He actually exited a company to First Data, and also contracted work on RealPage, which is Buildium's competitor. They were my competitor of the software that I could have decided to use for my real estate business, but I went with Buildium instead. So Ron's worked in the arena of the tech businesses I'm chasing here. Ben Golson could quickly become the CEO of the company if I decide I have a change of heart and don't want to chase the technology and want to keep driving these nice cars around. But I really believe in Ben's leadership ability, and Jake's no slouch either when it comes to leadership. They both have really good experience. With Ben, it's more SEO-based marketing. With Jake, it's more technology sales experience he's been building with his first job out of college. But they both are very excellent leaders, and either one of them can take over if I got hit by a bus. And they're probably better leaders than I am, so I'd probably put them in charge as soon as possible, one or the other. So we've got a really wonderful team, even though we really haven't launched yet. And what we've done, long story short, we hatched this idea at Startup Weekend about a year ago, almost to the day, almost a year ago. And I kind of had some struggles with my real estate business, so the entire idea got put on hold over this last year. But I did actually take the time to spend about a week meeting with potential clients. I've already framed out the basic screens for the idea. And what I really need, some of the hurdles right now is figuring out how to tap into the payment gateway options, either through First Data or some other company. Just rent their systems. We don't have to reinvent the wheel as far as moving money around. We just need to find the cheapest, most efficient, reliable system out there that already exists to move the money around, and we just make money off the technology, not processing the payments until we get, turn into a mammoth-sized company. But we do have customers wanting to sign up, so we just got to build it. I own the domain signwave.com. I need to start building out the brochure site, which is easy to do. I just use WordPress. So first Waive would be a wonderful addition to the progress we have already, because now is the time we need to start surrounding ourselves with other techies, and just having a dedicated workplace will not only allow us to focus, but allow us to look more professional, from customers to investors to employees. And the space is absolutely gorgeous. I love downtown Tampa. I have a soft spot in my heart for the UT Entrepreneurs Program at the University of Tampa. I would love to hire as many people out of there as possible. So I live right down Bayshore, off of Howard and Bayshore. So the location's wonderful, and I would be like a kid in a candy store if you guys would allow me to have an office space there at the Sykes building. So I appreciate your time. Again, my name's Chris Miller, and you can email me at chris@parkwildcapital.com, or my cell phone is 402-943-9659. Thanks a bunch.